Hello, everyone. Welcome to one more session of Tumodo Travel Technologies webinar. Let's just wait for a minute for a few more people to join in. Okay, so let's start. So, what is Tumodo? Tumodo is a global travel technology company based out of Middle East. We have operations across the world. We are a global travel technology company catering to companies in India, Middle East, Saudi Arabia, Kazakhstan, and we are going to be starting our operations in Denmark and US. We have been catering to across the globe. We've been catering to almost 500 plus corporates. We have around 10,000 active users using our platform on a daily basis. And talking more about Tumodo, we are an organization which caters to digital transformation. We understand what is a client's pain area. So at this point of time, you might be a admin, you might be a CFO, a CEO, or even an employee in an organization. So you might be having a lot of issues with respect to having your flights booked, ensuring that policies are there in place, making sure your employees are doing the booking in the right manner, getting the right inventory, having a seamless accounting, and above all, if you're from India, then the GST compliance. These are few of the major pain areas that as an organization you would be feeling. However, Tumodo, we are here to help you have this problem area solved. So with Tumodo, we would be giving you a dedicated login where your employees can log into the system and do your booking on a real-time basis. Single sign-on can be enabled, and this is how the landing page is going to be. I'm going to be taking you through a demo platform where this is the landing page where your employees will be able to see all the ticketing done by themselves. But when it comes to an admin, they would be able to access all the bookings done across the globe by all their employees on the system. Now here Tumodo has a beautiful feature where your employees can see their bookings. As an admin, you can cross-functionally check if you have multiple sub-entities in your organization. You can create all the entities against one, the parent company, and you can see how is the travel spend happening across all the other companies. Now, let's go to your flights. So we have your employees can log in to this phone number. They can reach out to our support team on this number. You can send an email to our backend team. You also have a real-time chat option with the team. At any point of time, if you're stuck somewhere, you feel that you need an extra assistance, the team is there to help you out. Just a second, please. So let's start with how your employees would be able to, how your admin team would be able to manage your bookings. Now here, for an admin, you can see who is traveling, how many cities are the people traveling. We also have a beautiful feature of flight tracking option. So if I'm going to be So here you can see all the information about if you're an organization with 500 regular travelers, you can see all the travelers information over here, which airport are they in on a specific day. You can even filter based on the time slot. Now for a top management, you would be quite concerned about your top management's travel, if the flight is on time, if the bookings are, if their baggage is coming in the right belt. All this information is available on this dashboard over here. Further, if you go, you can even find out city specific, how many people are located in different cities across the globe. Now here, you can see on a real-time basis your employee tracker. Now this is nothing but once a ticketing is done. Right now as an organization, you would be facing a lot of challenges. If you have a multi-vendor option at this point of time, you will have to collate the information across different platforms and see where is your employee located on a specific day. So here with Tumodo, what we do is you have a beautiful employee tracking mechanism where on a real-time basis, once ticketing is done, you can see in which part of the world which employee is located. Now, this is not just for a specific for one specific day, but even for the futuristic dates, you can toggle with the calendar over here and find out how many employees are located in different parts of the world. Now, consider an instance where your employee is stuck in a country and there is a calamity or there is an unforeseen event happening over there. You want to get your employee back, or you want to find out which hotel are they staying. All you need to do is just go to the respective trip and you can find out the entire information about their flights, their stay, which city are they staying in, till when are they going to be located in that city. All this information is available from the tracking mechanism, from this global tracker itself. Now here you have an option where you can find out the details about on a daily basis what is your travel analysis happening in your organization. You might be having 1 trip, 10 trips, 100 trips. So this tracker will help you understand on a daily basis how is the trend going on. Now here you have this two blocks where you will get an insight about your employees, how many bookings have been raised by them and how many have been going in the reserve status. Now we have a tab where you can see all your upcoming trips. So this will give you a clear insight of the bookings done, your own bookings, how many bookings are there booked by you, how many bookings you are in charge of, and here you can see all the trips which have been booked by your employees, your travel coordinators. All the booking information comes over here. Now here you can see cool icons. The flight symbol symbolizes that this trip has a flight and a stay. Every ancillary service which gets added on, you'll have the add-on logos which give you an insight on what all services are added along with the booking. Now here you can see that this trip only has a flight request, and you can also see when is this flight scheduled to start. After how many days is the flight going to be departing. Now let's go further into the details. Now here you have a detailed trip page where you can see all the summary that you had seen in the smaller block in the previous page, but this is going to be a little more in detail report. You can see what is the purpose of trip. You can even access the trip by going into the booking. From here, you can see all the information about, say, there is a trip to Bangalore and there are two people traveling, Priya and John. You have the hotel booking details captured over here. You have the flight itinerary details. At any point of time, if you feel that, there is a booking to be done and you want to cancel the booking, you can raise for the cancellation on the system itself. In case if you feel that there's a change of plan, you want to have a date change to be requested for one passenger, all you need to do is just click on change request and you can select the traveler's name and mention what is your requested change. So let's go for postponed by Monday. So here right now I'm requesting for postponement of only one employee's travel. So I send it out and the backend team will start working on this enquiry. Now here everything happens on a real-time basis. At any point of time, if you feel that you have a query pertaining to this entire travel of yours, all you can do is you can just click on the strip chat and you're going to be initiating a chat request pertaining to the entire trip. If it's a single module on which you have a clarification needed from the support team, you can select the chat option next to it. So here you can see a cute icon which says that pertaining to the stay, which is in Regency Hotel, you're asking an inquiry pertaining to it. So unlike the traditional OTAs where you have to reach out on a call center number or drop an email with all the details, wait on the IVR and wait for the team to come back to you with the respective trip, here in one click the team gets a clear understanding about what is it that you're asking. Now let's go further. Now here we have the reports option. Now in the reports we end up giving our clients a detailed reporting system where you can find out every single aspect in your travel, what is happening. Now as an organization, you might have a lot of bookings which is happening on flights, hotels, cab requirements, bus, train, visa, ancillary services. All this information, getting it on one single dashboard is practically impossible for most of the OTAs. So that is where Tumodo has come up with an extensive detailed analytical report which will throw out all the information, which for a procurement manager becomes very easy to showcase it to the management and also to the airlines to get a better deal. So here right now you can see consolidated for the last 6 months. You can take this report for this month, last month, 30 days, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, whatever time frame you want. You can see the entire information of what is the total spent. You can have the information about how many services were issued. You can see the adoption rate. You can also see how many days prior was the issuance done. So issue depth is nothing but on an average how many days prior or how well planned are the trips being done by your employees. Now this is one major factor where as an organization you can control and make sure that your employees are having a much better control on their travel and the cost is not going to be impacted much. Now here you have something called the refund ratio. Refund ratio is nothing but at any point of time if you've had a cancellation raised in the system, then this information throws out what is a percentage of cancellation coming up. Now here you have analytical report where you can see on a month-on-month basis what is the total spend that has happened in your organization. Here you can see the number of services issued on a month-on-month basis. Further, if you go down, you have an analytical real-time analysis on flights, what is the total spend, stay, what is the total spend. Now, if as an organization you have a lot of bus, train, cabs, you will have separate tabs for the same, which will throw out, the pie chart will throw out how is this spend happening across all the verticals. Now here I can even pull out this information in an Excel by just clicking on the Excel, and it will give me the complete information of which is the sector I have traveled to, what are the dates of travel, what is the carbon emission information, which employee is traveling, what is the reason for travel, if I'm going to be capturing many more other informations like billable, non-billable, what is the total cost, everything comes up in the system. Now here we have average cost. This is nothing but on an average what is the cost coming up for all the services put together. Now you can see this report is coming in dollars. However, for the Indian market, it's going to be coming in INR. So talking about the conversion, the pricing, Tumodo, since we have a global presence, if you're an organization having a presence across the globe, you have an office in Middle East, say Dubai, you want a billing in AED billing, we have a provision to give you AED billing for your Dubai entity. And if you're looking for say US entity or around the world, you want in USD billing, but for India you want it only in INR billing, we have the solution in place for you. Now here further, if you go down, you will get a beautiful report about the refund ratio, policy violations. Now here what happens is 90% of the time we always end up holding the employee accountable for not booking on the cheaper fare. So here you can find out on a month-on-month basis whether your employee is raising the request within the policy or they're going beyond the policy and doing a booking on the highest fare category or say business class, or you have a policy that employees should do a ticketing at least 15 days prior to the travel date and the employee has violated that request. All that information will come up over here. Now, why should only the employees be held accountable for all the misuse of activities? Now, there could be a financial loss happening in an organization because of no timely response from your managers as well. So here we have a mechanism to find out how many times are the approvals coming on time. Now, if you notice that certain managers are not available in front of the system at any point of time, or they're quite busy, but they are the key stakeholders for approving an employee's travel. So here you can get that information also about the approval ratio. If the approval ratio is anywhere between 50 to 75, you can catch hold of the manager and either change the approval flow or have one more person assigned to ensure the approvals happen seamlessly. Now here you have adoption ratio. Now adoption ratio is nothing but how many ticketing has happened on the platform on a real-time basis and how many were done with the help of the backend team. Now Tumodo has a beautiful option where if there is any ticketing which is happening offline, that also gets imported onto the system on a real-time basis. So at any point of time, no booking goes out of the system. Everything is recorded in the system. Now, everybody is talking about sustainability. Carbon emission is the new requirement of the market for any multinational company, may it be an enterprise account or a mid-segment enterprise organization. Carbon emission information is very critical in the next upcoming years. So why are you waiting to collate all the information from multiple suppliers and then get the report generated when Tumodo can give you all the information in one go on a real-time basis? So right now we have seen the entire detailed reporting on a consolidated basis. Now as an organization, if you're keen on finding out in detail breakup about which are the flights being used, how is the hotels which your employees are booking in, so you can break down this report furthermore and get in detail analysis. So here the same report you can see for flights alone, where you can see how many bookings were done on economy class. If employees have done booking on a business class, then that information comes up. If you want to see the information about your flight breakup, now this is an information which helps you to negotiate with the airlines in the future. Now, as you all know that if your travel spend is beyond an amount, beyond an X value, then you are entitled to get a corporate fare from the airline. So Tumodo's ultimate goal is to get you all the information in one place. And as an organization, we will initiate a contracting with the airlines on your behalf, or we will at least get the airlines to your office to ensure to get you a direct contracting with them. Now here you will get to understand about which are the top sectors that you travel, what is the total spend against those sectors, how many tickets have you issued in the last 6 months or 1 year in that specific sector. All the information gets captured over here. Now here you can see the average cost of flights, the issuance depth. So here you get to know exactly 14% of your travel is at least 21 days well-planned trip. However, you have 5% or 10% of bookings which is happening within 3 days span of time. or same day travel, 5% of the employees end up doing the ticketing on the same day of travel. Now you can even find out policy violations for flights, how many have been happening, how many of them are due to financial reasons. Financial reason is nothing but, say for instance, the cheapest fare available for a specific flight is X, but your employee has gone ahead and booked it on a way higher fare. So in that case, it falls in the financial criteria. Then issue debt is nothing but if your company has a policy that you should issue a ticket at least 7 days prior, but you've gone ahead and issued it 15 days, or you've gone ahead and issued it within 1 or 2 days, then it falls under the issue debt violation. So all this information gets captured over here. Here you have adoption ratio for flight, and you have the carbon emission for the flight. Same way for hotels also, you can see the entire information about how many hotel bookings were done, which is a category of hotels that your employees are booking, what is the name of the properties that they are booking in most frequently. All the information gets captured over here. And as a company, if you have direct contracting with any hotels, then we have a flexibility to map your contracted properties on the system so that at any point of time you can avail the benefits that you have as an organization with the property. Now let's go to my company block. Now here, this is nothing but which will throw out the information about all your employee information gets captured over here. Now, as a company, I know it's practically not possible for you to keep updating the information of every employee who comes in and moves out of your organization. So to avoid that manual intervention, we have integrations in place. It's just a one click away solution that we have. So if you're using any HRMS system, we can integrate your HRMS platform along with Tumodo India, and we can ensure that your employee information gets pulled into the system on a real-time basis. So at any point of time when we capture the employee information, there are certain details that we will be pulling out. One is the group or the department in which he is based out of, the employee's email ID, phone number, document. Now document is nothing but your ID card. Now for any domestic trip in India, you can use your Aadhaar card, but when it comes to international travel, you should have a passport in place. So in Tumodo, you can have multiple documents set in the system, and 90% of the time we end up having our passports in place, but we miss out on when the expiry date is coming closer. So here, if at all at any point of time your passport is about to expire, then you will be getting a notification saying that passport validity has come to expiry. So at any point of time when you're trying to do an international booking, this will help you to minimize or mitigate the loss which can be incurred due to passport expiry. Now here you have your reward points or your miles card details which can be saved in the system. So here what happens is, if at all at any point of time you have multiple frequent flyer numbers, you can update all the frequent flyer information in one go. And this information is going to be passed on to the respective airlines at the time of booking, and you can provide employees with access. So all this is going to be a simple integration. You just have to share the API credentials, and then or you just have to connect with the system, and it's just one-click solution. Once you give a go ahead on your HRMS platform, then this information gets pulled down over here. Now one major thing with Indian travelers is where the name in your HRMS system would not be in sync with your ID card. So this document option ensures to capture the name which is there in your document. So if as an employee your name might be Rahul Iyer, but in your document it would be maybe say Rahul Krishnan Iyer. So at the time of ticketing, your ticket copy will capture the name which is printed as per your document, so that you don't have to go back asking your admin team or HR team to make the necessary modifications. Now, the system has a capability of having n number of employees added in the system. Now you might have 10,000 employees, 20,000 employees, 1 lakh employees. We can map all that information in the system without any difficulty. Now, group is nothing but like a department. So here you might have multiple departments with different department heads where however your workflow demands you to customize a solution, we can customize it as per your requirement. So if you see over here, you can see that you have department created. Against the department, you have the employees, and you can also create a departmental manager. So say for instance, your employee is traveling and the first level of approver has to be his department head or his immediate manager. So right now, all the employees who are traveling in the sales team, the reporting goes to Mr. Arjun and he is going to be the first level of approval. Now, same way you can have this created for various other departments, and you have something called analytics. Analytics is nothing but at the time of booking, you might want to capture information like, what is their purpose of travel? Are they traveling for training, event, client visit? All this information can be captured over here, either as a list view or as a drop down. Now, we also have, depending on your company, however you want to set your requirements in the system, we can call it out. Now, one major requirement that most of the time we are noticing is the billing type. Now, we notice a lot of companies coming back saying that we have billable and non-billable requirements in my company, and for each entity, it has to be approved by the separate person. So in that case, what we can do is we have a provision to create billable. Under billable, we can create multiple entities and or multiple billable clients, and each client we can assign it to a separate POC in the organization who is going to be designated to give the approval for the respective booking. Now, as I'm going to be showing you the detailed demo, you will be understanding more about this. Now, let's go to the travel policy. Policy is nothing but every company will have their own policies, as I was giving you a little brief about it some time back, where you might have an employee who wants to travel 7 days prior, or you want to keep a policy where no employee should travel at their whims and fancy. They have to abide by the policy. You have to ensure that people do ticketing at least in a well-planned manner. So you can define it in your system. You can set it as, issuance not less than 7 days or 14 days. You can mention over here that only the cheapest fare available can be booked. Here you can keep it as a hard stop or a soft stop. So when I say hard stop, it is nothing but as an organization, if you feel that, okay, I want to give the free hand to my employee, but in the meantime, I also want to keep a control on my manager's visibility to what the employee is booking on. So here, in that case, you can keep it as always display. But if as an organization you're quite stringent about the policies, you can ensure that your employees do not get an option to even select. They can see a flight which is beyond the violation, but they cannot go ahead and issue it. It's going to be grayed out. So that possibility is also there, where selection can be disabled. Now, there are various parameters against which you can have your, policies mapped. You can restrict your employees from traveling on a weekend. You can have restrictions where, booking can be permitted only on refundable ticket cost. You can also prohibit issuance on business class, first class, or comfort. Then we have price deviation. So price deviation is nothing but at any point of time, if you're doing a ticketing, then not more than X percentage of the cheapest fare should be permitted for issuance. So if as a company you want to make sure that employee safety plays a very vital role, you can restrict employees from doing a ticketing on any specific route. So if there's a flight which is going through any sensitive regions, you can ensure that your employees are not permitted to book through that route. You can even have deviations, or based on the number of hours that the flight is going to be, say for instance, if you have a long haul flight, you have a flight which is going to be a 12-hour flight, then you can ensure that depending on the travel time, the category of flight can also be changed. You can have an upgradation to a business class if you have a 14-hour flight. So however your policies are, that can be mapped over here on the system. Now, you might even want to capture information like in a specific route, like say Bangalore Delhi route. You want to make sure that the pricing is not more than an X amount. So that can also be called out over here. Now, the similar we have for hotels also, where for hotels you can have details where people are not permitted to stay in a no-star, 1-star or 2-star property. You can keep limitations also on the cities. Say for instance, if somebody is traveling to a tier 1 or tier 2 city, you can keep a price capping on per night, including tax, what is going to be the permitted price. So 90% of the companies who work with us start using this platform with their own policies enabled at first. After using the system, after 2 to 3 months span of time, they start tweaking this approval mechanisms and policies. They start tweaking it to ensure that people are not going to be, to ensure that people also do not misuse the company funds allocated, and yet you have a control on what's happening in your organization. Now here in the approval mechanism, depending on your organizational size and how you have things set in your company, we can have either a pre-trip approval or an actual expense approval. Now, the difference between a pre-trip and an actual trip approval is nothing but, say for instance, you have a policy where the intent of travel has to be approved by the manager first, and after the intent of travel, then comes the actual costing, which has to be approved by the finance team. If that is a workflow that you have in your organization, then all we need to do is just enable pre-trip approval, and you can ensure that you can keep a capping that people cannot change the budget which they are going to be pre-setting in the system. So first, you might select that you're having a business travel from Bangalore to Chennai, and the travel time is going to be for 1 week. The total cost estimated for the entire trip is going to be X amount. Once you get an approval for it, the system will ensure to lock that much money and that days. You cannot go ahead and do a booking beyond those many days, or you cannot exceed the fund which has been approved by your manager. Now let's go with an actual expense approval flow, where I am setting up a policy where right now the first level of approval is from the manager. Second level approval, if there is a violation, is going to go for 2 levels of approval. It's going to go to Mr. Rahul and Mr. Vikram. So here what I'm going to be doing is either of them can approve. So any of means either Rahul or Vikram can approve. Now 90% of the time when a senior manager is involved, they would not have the bandwidth to come into the system, see what is happening, and approve it on real-time basis. They have more important things to cater to. So in that case, we are keeping 2 people in the system. So if either one of them is busy, the other person can come and approve on their behalf. However, system does not restrict the super admin or the admin team to bypass or to come and approve on behalf of these stakeholders. So at any point of time, if all the employees are busy in a conference or a town hall, then it's always up to the admin team to come and approve on their behalf. So depending on the travel requirement, there is respective approvals also enabled. Now, if you have requirements of daily allowance, then we have a provision to calculate your daily allowance also. So for domestic, if you have a capping that X amount has to be given as a per diem for your domestic trip. For international trip, you want it as a different currency and a different amount. That can also be set in the system. And if there is an exception in the per diems in a specific country, you want to have an exception, then that also can be enabled. Now, employee specific also we can ensure, or even as certain groups. Now, I know for the fact that not every group or every department employee travels frequently to international destinations. So I can have this per diem enabled only to those employees who frequently travel to international destinations. So here what happens is this per diem information gets captured, and this information is pushed to your finance team through your expense management platform. So if as an organization you have an expense management solution in place, we can have an API integration with the expense management solution, and this information of expenses at the real-time basis can be pushed from Tumodo to your expense management solution, and reimbursement and financial accounting can be happening over there in that system. Now, what we have done is we have enabled the policies, approvals. Let's go ahead and see how is this workflow going to look like. So I am first going to be changing the currency. Let me change this currency into INR. Okay, cool. So normally an employee, they can either come into the system and directly go ahead and do a flight booking, hotel booking, cab, bus, train, or they can raise a request for any of the manual services like VIP launch, visa service, insurance, bus, or any other ancillary service. Other than that, if you don't want to take the pain of sending out one request for approval to your manager, you can create a cart. So when I say a cart, you can create a main trip, which is going to be, say, trip to, say, Mumbai. And here I can see, is my trip going to be billable or non-billable? Now, most of the time what happens is we've come across companies where they say that it's going to be a billable request and it has to be billed to an X client. Now, if it's an international client, I can enter the cost center details against which it has to be billed to. If it is going to be a client, say I'm going to Mumbai, I need it to be billed to my Mumbai client itself, and the cost center against this booking is going to be this. And the trip reason, if it's going to be, say, a training, event, client visit, that information can be called out. In case if it's a new client, if it's a client visit, I can even call out the clients, existing clients under this client visit, and I can ensure that my manager has a clear visibility on why am I going to be traveling. Gone are the days when people would reach out on a phone call or send an email with all the information. When you have everything automated on the system, it eases out the work for your employees. So let's start with a booking for Miss Meera. Meera is going to be traveling from, say, Bangalore. She's going to be traveling from Bangalore to Mumbai. And her travel date is going to be, say, 16th to 19th. I'm going ahead and searching with this. So now here in Tumodo, one major advantage that as a company you're going to be getting is a visibility of fares. Now, you might be open to seeing only restricted fare categories from the current suppliers, or you would not have a visibility to 90% of the fare categories available. However, in Tumodo, what we do is we open up all the fare categories available from the airline website and other platforms to ensure that you have the cost advantage of getting the best pricing in the market. Now, there are certain times or certain sectors where you have coupon fares available. You have tactical fares, you have a flexi fare, saver fare, corporate fare, flexi, super 6C fare. Different fare categories are available. There are even times when you get NDC fares opened up in the system. Now, for a layman, I know it's quite difficult to understand what is each fare category, how different is it. So the only difference between every fare category that you see is the inclusion and the fare rules. Now, all these inclusions and fare rules are clearly called out under the fare rules. So as an organization, if you're cost conscious, all you need to do is and you know that for a fact your trip is going to be confirmed, there is no scope of cancellation, you can go with the cheapest fare available. But as an organization, if you have a policy that at any point of time your travel can be cancelled, then it's always recommended to go for a fare which has a cancellation penalty on the lower side. You can go for a corporate fare or a saver fare, SME corporate connect fare. So here all the information about the cancellation penalties are also clearly called out. What is the charges that is going to be coming up? Nil charges, no show penalty. All the information is going to be captured over here clearly. Now, furthermore, as an admin, if you feel that okay, I want to share certain information to my employees, I'm not sure about which flight I should go ahead and book them on, then I can do is I have this share button. I can select the share button and I can see that this information gets captured over here. I can either copy it in a clipboard, or what I can do is I can download it as a PDF. Now, when I download this information as a PDF, I get a clear visibility about this information. I can just send it out to my employee. So here you can see all the information: Bangalore to Mumbai, 16th to 19th, what is the 3 flights that I have selected, and I have a time span also. Timestamp is there on when this snippet has been taken. Now let's proceed. Now, you might also come across instances where for a specific employee, their preferred flight is already preset. So you always know that for a top management person or for a female traveler, you don't want them to travel late night. Then you can by default select a fare, select a timing and save it in the system as a preferred flight or a favorite flight. So for that employee, at any point of time when you log in for the specific sector, it is this flight which is going to be coming right on top. You don't have to go down filtering across all the flight options which is available. So let me take a flight. I have a meeting in the noon. I want to travel early and night. I want to make sure that I come back before it is too late. So these are the options available. Now 5:55 flight is a perfect ideal flight for me. So I can pin my 5:55 flight. Now I have different combinations coming up in the system with the other flight options for the return. Now the first option seems to be the best ideal time for me to travel. Here I can see there is a shield sign which is enabled. Now the shield sign says that there is a deviation in the policy. What is a deviation? Here you can see that minimum number of days prior to travel must be more than 7 days. That is the deviation. Remember, we had set in the system that not more, the people should do a ticketing at least within 7 days of travel. If there is a booking which has been raised, then it is going to be a deviation. So you can see 16th is falling in the deviation span. Let's proceed with this booking. Now I select my flight. Here now I can see the different fare categories which is available. I can go ahead and book based on my preference. So I know for the fact that I have a possibility of this flight being cancelled. So let me go ahead with the corporate fare itself and not take the risk. And I would prefer going in a Super 60 fare. I need good leg space. I need a meal to be added, so I add a Super 60 fare. Now, at the time of travel, if you come across instances where you have a lot of luggage to be carried, or you foresee that during my return I'm going to be having an excess baggage of 10 kgs to be needed, I can add the baggage on the go itself. I can add the baggage. Seat and meal is something which is going to be coming up in the enhanced version, and soon you will be having an option to add your seat and meal also. I can proceed with the booking. If a frequent flyer number, your blue chip number is already updated on the system, it will be auto captured. Else at the time of booking, you have an option to enable or add your miles card details. Now let me proceed. I can see that I have 2 flight options which is in reserve or in temporary block. Now depending on the airline time span given, you can see this flight is going to be in reserve for X number of minutes. This is subject to change from airline to airline. Some airlines would give you 5 minutes, some would give you 15 minutes, some would give you 1 hour or even 1 or 3 days span to confirm this booking. Now let's proceed with my hotel booking as well. Now hotel, I want to stay in Mumbai and my check-in is going to be from 16th to 19th. Now, let me see. Yeah. So now I had set one is this deviation in the pricing. Second capping which I had given was the employees are not permitted to book on a no-star property. So if there is a property which has been tagged as a 0-star, 1-star, 2-star property, then you can see that there are two violations which has come in. One violation is the number of days prior to travel must be 7 days. Second violation is the hotel does not meet the star category. So there is a conscious call which comes up for the employee also, whether they want to still proceed with the booking or they want to go with what is in the policy. Now, so for instance, I would like to go with this. This booking is within my budget also, and if there is a requirement for an early check-in or a late checkout, the system gives you a provision to mention the timing when you would like to have a early check-in or a late checkout. Now I can go forward and book with a bed with breakfast. So let me go ahead and book this flight, this stay. Perfect. Now, say for instance, I have already added this also in my cart. Now, if there is a cab requirement, I can add my cab request also over here. All I need to do is just enter my pickup location, destination, the rental type, whether it's going to be a city travel. Outstation is nothing but, say for instance, you go to Mumbai and from Mumbai you want to go by road to Pune or any other intercity and come back, or if it's just going to be a transfer. Transfer is nothing but airport transfer. You just need it for pick up and drop to the airport. All this information can be added and then you can proceed. Now if you're looking for a bus booking, the same way, it will take you to the bus page where you can select your bus requirement. Train is nothing but an offline request. So with a train, unfortunately in India, IRCTC has limitations. So what we do is you can share this information and immediately my team will come back to you with the availability of train bookings. And then you can go ahead with issuance. Say for instance, if you know for the fact that you want to travel from Mumbai, you can see all the information about the stations in Mumbai, and say for instance you want to go to Nagpur, then you can select your Nagpur stations available and then which class of travel, and then you can proceed with the requirement. Now if there is a visa requirement or if it's an international travel, you want to have a visa booked, that is possible. If there is meet and greet services that you're looking for, or insurance, you need an insurance to be booked for your international flight, you can select it from this additional services. So let's proceed further. So right now I have added all my requirements over here. As a company, if you have any email confirmation from your client where you have to go and meet them, you can add your email attachment over here. Whatever email you have as an attachment, you can add it over here. You can take a PDF and you can add it as an attachment. Now, let me proceed with requesting for approval. Now here, most of the time what happens, we've noticed that once an approver approves, by the time the employee goes back or somebody from the travel team comes and issues a ticket, there is a fare hike. So to avoid this fare hike, there is an auto issuance that we can enable. So once the booking has been raised in the system, immediately your manager will get a notification, and after the managers approve, then it will be auto confirmed by the system itself. So here you can see that for this employee, Ms. Meera, Vikram Menon is the approval. So the first approval goes to the immediate manager. So the immediate manager ideally gets an email which looks something like this. So here you can see that there is a request which is raised and that's a trip approval form. So Mr. Vikram gets, this is another one bookings approval flow which I'm showing you. So here you can see the destination, what are the travel dates, there is a policy violation, so it's clearly highlighted over there that there is a travel policy violation. Then you have the information about the policies, the violations which is happening. Now, one, you can find out why are they traveling. So this specific booking was for a US client. It is billable, and the requirement is basically a client visit for a government project. Now here you have furthermore informations about the flights that they are booking. Now here you can see that the onward flight had a policy violation, which is minimum number of days prior to travel must be 5, and only the lowest fare is allowed, which means that there was a fare which was way cheaper than 4,000 and the employee has gone ahead and booked it on a higher fare. Now the return leg, there is no deviation. Hotels also, there is no deviation. Now the manager, Mr. Vikram, or anybody in the system, what they can do is on the email, this email, they can directly go ahead and approve this booking. Else what they can do is, if they want to reject this or they want to send it back to the employee, then all they need to do is select this over here and mention the reason why they're sending it back, asking the employee to relook on the option. So the manager approves it on an email, or he can come in the system. So if I have to show you how that workflow looks, I will just go back in the system. Now you can see over here in reserve 3, which means that there are 3 bookings which is there in reserve which are yet to be approved. So these are the bookings in reserve and waiting for approval. So second level of approval which is pending is from because there is a violation, that is why there is the second level of approval which has been triggered to Rahul and Vikram. So either one of them can log in and approve. And the third is for the purpose of travel. Now for what purpose are they traveling? They are traveling for a client visit in Mumbai. So it has gone triggered to Sneha, the respective manager. Now you can see initially this booking was in reserve. Now this booking has gone into issue status. Now let's refresh this page. Now the flight is confirmed, onward is confirmed, return is also confirmed, and the return flight is also confirmed. The hotel booking is also confirmed. Now after the entire trip requirement has been confirmed by the employee, you can close this trip so that there is a travel plan which gets generated. Now, what is a travel plan? When you have a multi-city travel or a travel which is coming up with quite a lot of itineraries in place, there are a lot of possibilities where you end up missing out on maybe say 1 day stay. It could be anything pertaining to the trip that could have been missed out. So to avoid that, we have a consolidated summary of how your travel is going to look. Now this is the travel plan for this traveler. So here you can see the information. Meera is traveling from Mumbai. She's traveling from 16th to 19th. Here you can see the information. On 16th, 5:55 is her flight from Bangalore to Mumbai. And there is a hotel check-in which is at 2 p.m. And on Friday, she's going to be checking out of the hotel at 12. And she has a flight at 7:35. And she's going to be arriving in Bangalore on 21:30. Now that is 9:30. Now here you have the entire summary. You have the ticket copy which is attached with all the information along with the terminal details are called out. Then you have your return trip details also being called out over here. You have all the information with the costing, the terminals, the departure date and time. And further, if you go, you have the hotel voucher. So in the hotel voucher, you can see the complete information about what is the room category you have selected. Is it with breakfast, without breakfast? What is the check-in date, check-out time? What is the timing of check-in and check-out? What is the exact hotel address? What is the star category of the hotel? What is the phone number? What is the status, whether it has been paid or not? Now you also have the coordinates of where is this hotel exactly located. Now there could be a lot of instances where you have this information in your system, but you're on the road, you've missed out the landmark, you're new to a city. So this coordinate will give you an insight of what is the nearby locations. I know for the fact that, okay, this property is somewhere close to Lotus Eye Hospital or Sukh Hotel. So I can just come in over here, see what is the nearest landmark and keep that in my mind so that I don't get lost. So this is how your travel plan looks, and this can be sent out on an email, it can be saved on their calendar, and it's also available in the system on real-time basis. So now over here, if you see, this booking would already be reflecting in my calendar. Now if you see over here, I have one person in Bangalore. You can see Meera Reddy. She's going to be traveling from Bangalore on Monday, and the information is going to be captured over here in the map as well once the ticketing is done. So right now I have shown you a snippet of how the system is going to be working. Now this is just one capability of the requirement that I have shown you that Tumodo is capable of catering to. However, as an organization, if you have a detailed workflow where for every department you want customized workflow to be enabled, we can help you with the same. Tumodo helps you implement the system in 24 hours time. That is the forte of the key account managers that we have in place, where once you see our platform, you're okay with proceeding with Tumodo, the next step forward generally comes in with an agreement, mutual agreement sign up. Once the agreement is mutually signed, the next thing that comes is going to be the implementation, which happens within 24 hours time of after execution of the agreement, with understanding your entire workflow. The key account managers will be closely working with you to understand how is it that your system functionality should be, what is it that you're looking out for, what is going to be your end goal. Is it to make your employees' life easy, or is it to bring in more savings to a company? Depending on your end goal, we will ensure to give you the system customized as per your need. And if there is any integrations which is needed, then we will immediately initiate the integrations as well. And once that is done, then we will be working on a phase-wise launch with your company. So all these activities generally take from 1 week to 10 days maximum to go live with any organization if there is any detailed integrations involved. However, if it's a simple platform integration, within 24 hours, we are good to go live. So at any point of time, if you feel that you are an organization who needs external support from the market experts like Tumodo, where we can help you to ensure to bring in more savings, or help you optimize your travel policies, or bring in the best standard practices, then we are the go-to people. You can reach out to us by visiting on our website, which is www.tumodo.io, and you can send out a request, and my team will get in touch with you to give you a detailed understanding about Tumodo. We can show you the platform once again, customized as per your requirement, and then we can take this discussion forward. If you have any more queries, you want to understand more, you want to feel free to reach out to us on the numbers mentioned on our website, or you can drop us an email to hello@tumodo.io. That's about it for today. We are looking forward to getting more inquiries and helping you streamline your travel. Thank you.